Hi, I'm Rob Cosman, and we are here at Heartland Forest. That's in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, just across the border from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Niagara Falls, New York. And we just finished our 7th class. We run week-long hand-tool workshops, Monday to Friday. We normally go 8 in the morning till 8 at night. This week we went 8 in the morning till 10:30 at night, but it was an eager bunch. And the way we do this is we have 6 to 8 paying civilians. These are regular folk that come to learn woodworking. And they cover the bills so that we're able to bring in 6 combat wounded veterans each time. So when I say this is our 7th class, we've had 7 of these where we brought in 6 different combat wounded veterans each time. And we bring them here because what we have found is that hand tool woodworking is very therapeutic, particularly for people that have suffered traumatic brain injury, particularly as a result of combat and or post-traumatic stress, although we have a lot to come with physical wounds as well. So not very often do we get combat wounded female veterans, but we do this time. And even better, it's not very often where we have vets that feel comfortable in talking about what's actually happened to them. But Yvonne is an exception to the rule, so I'm going to have her tell a little more than we would normally get. But first, I want to ask her about her woodworking career that started on Monday.
It did.
It did.
Yes.
So you spent how many hours? 60, probably 70 hours in the shop.
Correct.
With a bunch of old men, myself included. And you were introduced to tools that you'd never used before?
Yes, correct.
And what did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes. Yes.
Was it hard?
It wasn't hard. It was enjoyable. It was new. A lot of practice. You got to do a lot of practice.
But you learned to sharpen right away.
I did. We sharpened. We learned
No,
to use the...
you learned to sharpen.
Yes.
I came down and
I
you were
learned
playing.
all the skills that I need to do the stuff that you teach, like the dovetails and... Right? Correct?
Sawing, chisel work, sharpening, planing.
Yes, yeah. Correct. And I don't know the correct terminology because of my injury and my head injury, which I have short-term memory, but I learned all the stuff that I need to go back home then and use your program, your online program. Videos. Correct. So I'm very excited to do that, to go home and utilize what you taught.
Are you tired?
I am tired. I usually don't really leave my home that frequently, so doing this and being out of the house like for this amount of time is very unusual for me.
How was the camaraderie part of it, of going and out? We go to dinner 3 times a day, and a lot of the local restaurants, I have to say this, volunteer to actually pay for the meals for the vets, which is absolutely fantastic. Great community support here. So how about that side of it, the social side of it? Has that helped you?
Yes, it's very nice to see the support of the community and also the other attendees of the workshop. Very interested in our experience or my experience and what I've been through, and genuinely interested in my recovery as well as you.
Good.
Thank you.
Now I want you to talk so that the people watching this can have a better understanding. If a guy, when I say a guy, male, female,
yes,
is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, can you give the average person a little bit of an understanding of what that is? Oh, by the way, from someone who's treated it and now is a victim of it.
Correct.
Or a patient, however you
Correct.
would say that.
So just to give you a little background, I was an Army nurse for 18 years, served in the military, deployed 5 times, 3 times to Iraq, once to Afghanistan, and then to Kosovo. I was a surgical nurse and I served in a combat support hospital and also in Ford's surgical team. My last assignment, a mortar landed 6 feet away from me, so I obtained a traumatic brain injury, and I also suffer from post-traumatic stress or post-traumatic stress disorder.
Can you tell them about this?
Well,
which wound? Oh yeah.
I also have anxiety and tremors. But I also have shrapnel all over my body. I have I had an open ulna fracture from when the mortar landed 6 feet away from me. So I have some limited range of motion in my dominant right hand. So I have strength issues with my hand. So honestly, I didn't know how I would do with using the saw or anything that involved some gripping and stuff.
But you did fine. I would never have known that there was an issue had you not told me.
Well, I don't try to stand out.
No, I don't mean that. I meant in watching you work, I would never have known that there was a problem.
Well,
so
thank you.
Obviously your progress has been remarkable.
And that is one of the things with post-traumatic stress or TBI. They have a lot of the same symptoms. So we don't try to stand out. We try to blend in. And that's what is great with this program is reintegrating into society. And I don't know if that's what you were trying to say, but I've completely forgotten what we were talking about.
Yeah,
and that is one of the problems.
That's all right. That gives me a chance to start over.
Right, but that's one of the problems with PTSD or a traumatic brain injury is most of us have short-term memory problems and we kind of forget what we're talking about or what we're doing, or we, that's just part of the recovery process. And I was wounded in 2010, it's now 2018, and I have my good days, I have my bad days, but that's the rest of my life now.
So address this one then.
Yes.
There's lots of people, there's lots of vets that are, and I'm amazed when we have them talk and they say, we don't go out of our house.
No.
They talk to their wife, their children, and that's about it.
Yes.
So we come here. Instantly, you know you're going to be around 5 other combat wounded veterans, so
yes.
you don't have to explain yourself to them.
No.
What's also really nice is more and more the civilians that are coming to our workshop are other vets that are just coming because they want to support the program. They may not suffer from it themselves, but they know and they're grateful for what vets have done. They're one of them. So how has that interaction with people in similar situations, how much has that helped your ability to interact with others?
Well, for us, though, too, it's a trust issue. Usually it's where we've been, what we've been exposed to. So coming here and being around, like in our group, we have some Vietnam vets who have not really been able to tell their side of the recovery process, and we've been able to talk to them, and I'm very grateful for that generation for paving the way for my generation in the recovery process. So it's been very good for me, my recovery process, to see and healing, to see even the civilians, how grateful they are in just wanting to hear our stories, because a lot of times they're not even, for us, we lived it, so we're very aware of what went on or what's going on with soldiers. But what we realize is that most of the community or people have no idea what the soldiers are dealing with when they're coming back, soldiers, airmen, or Marines. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
And what a lot of people, it's 1% of the population volunteer to defend our country. 1% of the American population. So it's not a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that need
But when it comes
recovery.
to helping these guys, that 1% influences a much greater percentage through family contacts. And if we can help them...
Well, and a lot don't have family to help them.
Tell me that terrible statistic that you
it's about 8% of people that are married that continue to stay married after a traumatic brain injury. I don't know about the PTSD, but I suspect that it's pretty similar, that they end up divorcing and not staying together because they don't know how to handle the effects. It's your personality changes. You're a different person when you receive a head injury or you have post-traumatic stress.
Well, you know what? You're such a good person now. You must have been an awesome person
Oh,
before.
well, thank you so much. And it's been an honor to be here and to meet you and to take your class. Thank you so
for
much.
Your service. Thank you for what
you.
you've done for your country. Thank you for what you've done for everybody who enjoys being free.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here and being able to share this. I've heard your story several times. I'm fascinated every time I hear it.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.